Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Best Ball with Bindles. We have a special guest on, RustyK, a member of the Bulletproof Discord and recent winner of a playoff best ball contest. How's it going, bro? How's your night going?
Doing pretty good. Got the kids down and just happy to be doing something with adults. So appreciate you having me on.
I know you love those best ball drafts. I've seen you've been ripping off a lot of big boards and little boards. So I'm sure you're happy to be talking ball.
Mostly on mobile, so I'm excited to do it on the desktop. I did a test run here earlier this week, so I'm excited to try one live on the desktop. But yeah, I got a little bit more inspired after the playoff best ball, spiking that mitten, so it was pretty exciting.
That's super exciting. We were talking pre-stream, like I'm like completely not tapped into the playoff best ball. I feel like I just have so much else going on and I just didn't dive into it. But why don't you just talk us through kind of like your strategy going into it, just the sweat and everything, and just give us a little insider perspective.
Yeah, so for some reason, I don't know why, I just honestly, I like the playoff best ball more than I like the seasonal. I think it's a shorter time frame. So,
Sure.
You can just really dive into it in a shorter time frame and you could kind of see your efforts pay off a little sooner, hopefully. But I also like the extra layer of strategy where it's not really about player takes. It's more about like, how do I figure out who's going to be the Super Bowl team and how do I build a roster that's going to make it through every round, but also have a legit chance to win in the Super Bowl. It's just another extra wrinkle that's really, it's fun. I appreciate that extra strategy involved.
It is. That's the thing, is that it's really like strategy focused and less so like player take focused, which is, it's interesting because it's all like, that's a really good point, is you saying like your money's not tied up and it's like a quicker payoff. Because like that's the thing about drafting teams right now, is that it's so far out. And I mean, even in the season, you have to wait 5 months before like really realizing or even sweating anything. So I definitely think it's not, I don't play any DFS or anything like that, but it's like a little bit of a shorter, quicker payoff, which seems like a big plus.
For sure.
But yeah, I definitely want to dive into it next year and try to at least dedicate some time and some money and some effort into it, because it seems fun.
Yeah, I think I got into it last year, I believe. Yeah, so it was last year in the Bulletproof Discord. There's a thread, a best ball thread in Jacob's channel, where a bunch of the guys like you and Paul and Depot and Boots and excuse me, Germ, I think it's in there sometimes, but that's where I really got into it. And kind of Jacob was the one that gave that baseline level of strategy for playoff best ball, where I was like, okay, I could see myself getting into it. So I think I probably did 100 drafts, and I don't even know if I got a team to the finals last year, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So this year I committed a little bit more and I maxed the mitten 1, and I did some other drafts in like the little mitten and mitten 2, mitten 3. But I really went hard at the mitten 1 because I wanted to get in early where there was more ambiguity, and hopefully there was a little bit of an edge there with just pumping the volume. And it turned out that Patrick Mahomes was my top owned quarterback. I didn't design it that way. I didn't go in doing that. Just kind of, he fell to the right places over the course of those 150 drafts. And the team that won actually was one of my later teams after, I think, did they lose to the Raiders, or they like played really terrible against the Raiders, or or one
Yeah,
of
I
those
know there was some,
following
like,
weeks.
grossness around the Chiefs for, like,
Yeah, so
a
they
little bit.
started to decline right at the end of Mitten One, towards the end, and I was able to get a team that had Mahomes, CMC, Kelsey, Kittle, or not Kittle, Pacheco, and Rishi Rice. So that was like the big five, I called it. And there was 18 teams in the finals with that only, which was great. But it ended up being Juwan Jennings that was the
Hell yeah.
difference maker. So one of the big pieces to the strategy behind it is like it's definitely I'm 100% sold now that it's much better to have those ancillary pieces than say like back when Mitten One was going on. And actually, this is probably a terrible example, but like Puka and Cooper Cup were going late, just like right around where Juwan Jennings was going, or um, you know the Cleveland guys were going later, right? And a lot that was like a hot thing to do is take a lot of those guys or just take some one-offs to try to advance you. But then you don't have that extra piece in your back pocket during the final. So I had 8 guys live on that team going in with like CEH, Juwan Jennings, and Justin Watson. He was pretty common, but I felt really good about having some other pieces other than that core five to just have
Differentiate yourself a
differentiation.
little
And
bit, yeah.
I didn't somebody in one of the like the Spike Week or the Leg Up Discord had crunched the numbers, and I had the third highest EV going into the tournament, which was great. But I didn't do the math on like, oh, this exact unique combo is the one that is the best for me. So it was kind of a nice sweat because I didn't know what to expect really. And I going into that game, I was like, I don't care who wins. I just want it to be a high scoring game. And as it turned out, being relatively low scoring with some people being ambiguous, that ended up being better for me. So it's like unanswered prayers, right? So
That's honestly that's crazy, and just the way you got to it too. So yeah, just give me a little bit more background about you. Obviously, I'm in a few dynasty leagues with you. We talk best ball a good amount with the guys in the Discord, but basketball background, dynasty background, just fantasy in general. I'd love to just
yeah,
learn a little bit more.
for sure. I started playing Dynasty. Geez, it was probably maybe my senior year of high school, possibly like early
Oh wow.
college. And that would have been a long time ago. Like I remember having like Carson Palmer and Sean Alexander on a team together, right? So we're talking way back when like Priest Holmes was a top pick and that kind of stuff. So that's when I first really got exposures. We had I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we always had like a employee draft there with all the different guys who would get together and have that draft. So that's kind of how I got hooked into it, and pretty much been playing ever since. Finally took the leap into Dynasty. It's been a while, probably at least 6 or 7 years, something like that. I can't remember
Okay.
off the top of my head, but still, back when Superflex wasn't as much of a thing as it is now, right? So my first Dynasty league was one QB and all that. But yeah, here we are today. Ever since Underdog came out, it's been really fun doing some of those. And after joining the Bulletproof Discord with Dynasty, I went from like 2 leagues to I think I have 15 now. Half of them are best ball Dynasty just because I don't have time to manage a
Sure.
ton of managed leagues on Sundays and different things. So, but it's fun to have because it's a totally different game, I feel like. So it's fun to have a little diversification in that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I'm only in one dynasty best ball league, and it's the one that I'm in with you.
Yeah.
Um I feel like I did decent. I feel like it is like interesting. We were talking before, and I was talking to my last stream about kind of like I think it's very beneficial to play both because you kind of you gain edges on different sides of things, but the hard part is not becoming too much of a dynasty bro or too much of a best ball bro. Like you got to
Yeah,
kind of switch your brain on and off during different times of the year.
for sure. I actually find that both help each other get better too, right? Like doing all these best ball tournaments early and drafting all these rookies helps me when it comes around time for the rookie drafts and just having better player knowledge by that point and having kind of a read on how some of those more obscure players are being seen in a seasonal league, which I'm more likely to take a running back in the 4th round, and even if he's only, I'm looking at that as like a 1-year play anyway, not somebody I'm stashing for 4 or 5 years. So I think it does help.
So yeah, you speaking of best ball, you've also been drafting a bunch of big board teams and little board teams, and loading up on a lot of rookies. So do you want to talk us through a little bit of kind of like what your general strategy has been like, and whatever, just rookie strategy, and if there's any guys that you're super targeting, or if it's just rookies in general, or just more about that.
Yeah. And once we get into the platform, I can share my exposures up on the screen. But yeah, I'm basically just went in to the big board thinking I don't care how many rookies I draft. Like, obviously, I'm not going to draft 15 rookies, but I'm not going to just say, hey, I only need to draft like 3 or 4 rookies, or be afraid of drafting too many rookies because there's all the uncertainty, or they could be a 0, different things like that. I just said, I'm going to let go of all that anxiety and just take the players I think have the most upside, or, that have that CLV, or, by once the season starts, right, they probably would be going, there's going to be people that we're drafting in the 15th, 16th, 17th round that may be like 10th round, 12th round picks. So it's just getting that extra value early right now, I think, is a really fun thing to go after. And I want to commit to it as hard as I can. So you can kind of see, especially this year, I like a lot of those late round receivers. In past years, just in general, it probably would be flipped and you'd see a lot of different running backs, right? And the rookie running backs that are way up at the top that I have a ton of exposure to. But this year, honestly, I feel much more comfortable drafting the different, rookie receivers that don't have like the big names. I mean, Trey Franklin's pretty big, but I think he's super undervalued. But Malik, Jermaine, Malachi, and Javon, all those guys have been going really late. They're starting to creep up a little bit, but Javon's not really. And it's crazy to me because I think one of the things that is a value from the dynasty aspect to doing some of these early, like the big board drafts and doing best ball drafts, is I'm following a lot of these people who are college or draft analysts on Twitter, and I've like kind of honed it down to the different analysts I trust and have like a track record of having good opinions. So when I see they put out content on certain guys, it makes me trust it a little bit more, even if I haven't done my own research. And like, if you go on Twitter and search Javon Baker's name, you're not going to see anything bad about him. It's just like everybody loves him, and I don't understand why he's still going so late. But I'm just going to end up with probably over 50% in big board and little board and be pretty happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like what you're saying about the general rookie strategy, I think, and you just saying basically like, I don't give a fuck about how many rookies I take, like I'm just shooting for the upside. I think in this particular tournament, with it being just so ambiguous, with just we're so far away from the season, like the big hits really matter more than like if you draft a guy in the 13th, 14th, 15th round and they're a 0, right? Like that makes
Yeah,
up for it. Like even if 1 or 2 of those guys per team shoot up like that, it covers you so well. So I
for
think
sure.
people are still not leaning that into that enough. And I think that you identifying that as an edge and really leaning into it is like super, super smart, because people still like, I think a lot of people are talking about like no dead roster spots. Like there's stuff that is drilled into our head about like, this is how we need to draft structurally, and just from different like pillars that we need to follow. But it's like, I really think the contest selection and the time of year play into it a lot. So
For sure. And I think if I had to prioritize, I think, rookies is number 1 for me, but like 1B would be still trying to get those stacks. Cause I know there's a lot of people and a lot of good basketball players that maybe still don't care as much about stacking in this tournament. So to me, when I hear that, that's an edge, right? If you can make an effort on stacking and getting some good stacks set up, that's going to make it give you another little edge there. And then I think the third thing that I'm trying to do is anytime I kind of solidify my main stack, if you will, I am going to one of the, I think what is like fbschedules.com. I just type in like, whatever team, Eagles 2024 opponents, and I pull it up to see who they're playing. And that way I can get an idea, okay, which teams could potentially they correlate with in weeks 15, 16, 17. And if there's a coin flip or a toss between a couple of guys at a pick, I'll go with one of the ones that's more correlated. And then, if I'm seeing there's some teams that have a lot of common opponents, even better, right? Like that's a whole nother layer that I don't have any like tools for or anything. It's just kind of a gut feeling. But I think even some of those things, even if it's like a 0.0001% edge, it's still worth, trying for the scenario where you get one team that everything aligns. And then that's the correlation or the game that pops week 17 and here you are winning. So it doesn't really take that much more effort. So why not do it? But
yeah,
going back to the rookies, I really obviously like Caleb Williams a lot. It's 10% higher owned than any other quarterback that I have right now. And then you could see as far as ownership, I got a lot of rookies up here too. And we saw these folks. I like Ricky Pearsall too, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors. I like a lot better than Marvin Harrison Jr. at cost. I just think
the Marvin Harrison Jr. cost is
it's high. It's not that I won't take him, but I just think people are willing to take. They have a more risk tolerance for that than I do right now. And honestly, I've been getting. I don't want to say stuck, but towards the back end of the draft, and it's a little too early for me to come around. Like if I could take DJ Moore over Marvin Harrison, I'm probably going to do that 9 out of 10 times or 8 out of 10 times. But Malik is in just such a great spot. If I don't have AJ Brown and I'm not clicking Jalen Hurts in the third round, I'm probably taking Malik there. And you could see with my May and Daniel shares, I'm trying to load up on a lot of Demario Douglas too. But I mean, there's so many rookies in here. I'm just hoping, a handful of them are actually scoring points for me by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, even who's the guy from Florida, Ricky Pearsall. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I've been seeing some of the good draft people, Fantasy Stock Exchange, other people saying like he's probably going to go second round. So like if he's going second round, that's a pretty
right.
good bet to make at his current cost, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. And the one thing I really like about doing best ball and dynasty is like there's guys that I would never think about taking. Like I guarantee you Ricky Pearsall's not going to be on any of my dynasty teams, right?
yeah,
But because this is 1 year and like he's going to be in the second round and they might funnel targets to him, yeah, I'm going to take him in best ball. That's one thing that's fun. If there's a guy you're fading, like what was it 2 years ago when Ramondre Stevenson broke out for the Patriots. Like, we were way down on Stevenson as a running back in the Discord. So I didn't have any shares in Dynasty, but I had 30% in the Underdog tournament. So it's like you can kind of feed that, like, yeah, I want to have a little bit of action. It feels better, feels more okay. You don't have as much FOMO in the Dynasty when you could kind of balance it out with the best ball stuff too.
you can kind of leverage against yourself, right? Like,
Exactly.
and I think that's also like it. I think a big thing that I've learned, like I've only been playing Dynasty since my first league was in 2021, but I only had one league, and then I have dove way too deep, obviously, recently, but which is very much so my personality. But I think I used to just be so player takey, where I like even if it was best ball or dynasty, I would like just either be all in or all out. And I think a skill that you develop playing both is that you are willing to change your take and whatever, just on players in general, but also just in the different formats, like you're saying, because yeah, like there's guys where from just a dynasty mindset and like the way I build my teams and everything, I'm not going to take the shot on them just because the cost is too high or I don't like their profile or whatever. But it's like in best ball, you're drafting 500 teams, 300 teams, however many you're drafting. Like, you definitely want some shares. So,
Right, for sure. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think about the rookies? Is there anybody that sticks out to you from what you've done so well or so far, as far as like who you're seeing as a value, or is there anybody missing from this list that you think like you have a lot of that maybe I don't?
well, one guy I think that I am aligned with you on is Troy Franklin because I think he's pretty live to go. Like, I mean, I think at least first round, and if maybe even like whatever early 20s range, which is a super juicy range for better quarterbacks, better teams. I think he's going to run super super fast. He's skinny, so maybe his like size adjusted, his RAS score might not be amazing, but um, definitely a guy that I think every year it seems like there's like what is the I think Brian Thomas is a better prospect. So I understand that there is some gap, but I don't
Yeah,
think it should be what is it like 30 picks
yeah,
or something like that. I don't think
in a
it should be.
rounds difference. It's I actually I've a lot of my Troy Franklin came like in my earlier drafts, and it people are I think starting to wise up to it because he's going earlier. I can't push him as far as I did before. I'm probably going to have to start taking a little bit more again. But yeah, people are wising up to it. It's at least it feels like it's like 4 or 6 rounds, but it's probably not that much. But it's a pretty substantial difference.
And then so wait, your Caleb shares are what like you said it's 31.4%.
Yeah,
What about the
so
other quarterbacks? I saw May was one of your other top ones
yeah,
because he was going real late
May's
before.
like dirt cheap, so I'm just taking him, even if I don't him really and Daniels because there's so much like we know Caleb's very likely to go to the Bears. So if I start DJ Moore, or I get like a Malik Neighbors, and the draft flops in the way that those two are on the same team, that's wheels up to me. And then same with Rome is another guy that if I get him, I'm automatically trying to target Caleb. But just honestly, in general, as my QB2, I'm trying to get Jaden, Drake, and Caleb. And I know some people would say that's probably too early to pair with like a quarterback that's gone before that, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out at the end. And then
I,
especially with Drake and Jaden, you don't really know where they're going to go. If somebody's going to trade up, is Washington going to take May, or is now Daniels getting steamed up enough? So honestly, with those, I'm not going out of my way to get Dotson because I don't know how great he's going to be, but I'll try to get Daniels for both or Douglas for both of them so I can get hedged with New England either way. But then I'm just hammering a bunch of rookies, hoping that one of them sticks in a stack with those guys. So that's kind of my strategy there.
I think all these quarterbacks are like pretty much I think we're super aligned on all these quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Even like Jaden Daniels, whatever. I just think he's going to score a lot of points because he rushes. Like,
right.
and then yeah, Will Levis late. Like, I don't think Will
Yeah,
Levis is a sure bet, but like he definitely has some upside,
he's
especially at
like a
that.
panic button for me, right? Like I don't feel bad at all taking him as my second QB. It would be nice. I would say probably two of the four teams that I have with him there probably have Hopkins. The other two, again, just spraying and praying for rookies that land out there as far as stacks go. But I don't think it's necessarily terrible in this tournament because a lot of people aren't paying attention to it anyway. If your panic button second QB isn't necessarily end up stacked, it's probably fine. But and I know I have some little board slows going on, and there's going to be more Lamar and Hertz flowing in from those. There, I have a
Okay.
ton. I've had a ton of drafts in the back half. That's why I have so much Stafford because I have so much Puka and Kyron that it's just kind of how the dice have rolled for me.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think one more before we hop in the draft is
Yeah,
Kyler. I feel like he's going in a really nice range right now, especially because like Stroud is going so early and like A Rich is going so early. It's like Kyler, especially with probably Marvin Harrison coming in, seems like he's pretty undervalued. Right?
for sure. And yeah, I agree. I'd probably have a lot more if Marvin Harrison wasn't so expensive,
Yeah,
to be honest with you. All right, I think we're
absolutely.
getting close here, so I can pop over if that works.
Yeah, sounds good to
Um,
me.
let's see, what do we got? Sorry, I've got a lot. I've got some golf going on here.
The slows
Where are you? Big board, big board. There you are.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, right. There's way too many things going on. And again, I'm not used to the desktop, so I'm sorry if it's clunky.
No, no worries.
All right, I think we got the 12th pick, so that'll be a good one. My dream with the 12th pick, other than Puka falling, is like AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson. I don't know if you picked from the 12 or what you like there, but
Um, yeah, really like AJ Brown. I It's weird. Like I think I like Gibbs, but I'm just scared off a little bit by the fact that like I just don't there's outcomes where he just goes absolutely nuclear and just like whatever because of his pass catching and everything and kind of kills me. So it's not like I want to have zero, but I just
right.
feel like is David Montgomery really going away with Dan Campbell? Like I don't think so. So
No,
um
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I have like maybe one share of the. Well, how many drafts am I deep now? 50 something. No, actually more than that. Probably closer to 60. Um, I have one share, which I mean, maybe I'll get burned by that, but just a little too high for me. I kind of think he should probably be going mid, like where A Chain is going or A Chan. They kind of seem similar to me as far as a bet goes.
Yeah, I'm super. I'm obviously if Bijan falls to us, I don't think he will, but I'd be fine with
Oh yeah,
him.
for sure. I love Bijan. I'm just
Honestly, I like Achan. If we want to do a wide receiver and Achan, depending on who
okay.
falls to
I
us,
probably don't have enough of him. I know the leg up guys are pretty high on him. Spike week, not as much, but I probably need a little bit more anyway. So I have a ton of Kyron. The only way I'd say if Kyron over HN is if Puka falls to us
and
and the
just
other
to
two
stack it up.
receivers are gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think someone was saying that part of the reason why Achan was not moving up as much, even though he was getting a lot of steam, was because I think it was like ETR and some of the other sites like didn't move him up yet. So I think that's probably why. So I think he'll probably move up a couple spots. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean that feels like you said, like the spike weeks are just absolutely crazy. It's pick 17, like guy that can
Right.
give you 50 points. Okay,
Wilson A chain is kind of nice because they're in the same division too. So if you want to
yeah,
just do that, let's just hammer that.
smash it. I
Um,
like it.
I feel like week 17, unless they change some things, and maybe they will, now that there's an extra game, uh, division opponents, I think, God, we were talking about this in one of the discords. I can't remember which one, but somebody was mentioning that conference, interconference play, not like NFC versus AFC, but AFC versus AFC is more common in that week 17 over the last year or two than like within division. They usually take the division rivalry games into week 18, but there's still a few that trickle in week 17 too. So again, small edges, right?
Yeah,
You
I
hope to
think
get lucky.
we need someone much smarter than me to figure out some sort of like code that can predict week
Right.
17 games this early. I don't know who can do that. Definitely not me, but
It would be really nice to wheel Waddle here. I doubt it's going to happen, but what do you think about Keenan Allen? Um, I love Keenan Allen, but I'm also a little bit nervous about Harbaugh.
yeah, I mean in Dynasty, I think it's a little bit different because he's just so freaking cheap.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty fine cost for him because he's going around. Waddle, Cup. Like I think definitely I'll probably be like about market with him.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
wow, who just went there? Did I miss something? Oh, I must have just not clicked it. I thought somebody from this far back just got taken.
did someone? Huh?
No, I must have double clicked the Q button or something.
Um, but yeah, I've mentioned this multiple times, but it's like I almost feel like the second and like beginning of third round wide receivers I like just as much as some of the second round wide receivers.
Yeah,
Um, which makes me more apt to click an HN because I'm just like, there's not a guy in the third round. It's Rashad White and Pacheco who like they're fine, but like they feel pretty dead zoney to me. And the bottom could fall out. So
yeah. It'll be interesting. At first I was annoyed that I kept getting at the back end of the drafts, but I actually think it's a benefit. I think for this tournament anyway, drafting in the back is going to be it just things come together easier as far as stacks and stuff I'm finding because like I've taken Jefferson a few times and it like it doesn't feel great to click Kirk Cousins as early as it is because it's so early and then also he may not even be the quarterback. It's just uninspiring. I kind of like the mid to back end.
I feel like the back end, it's like the end, yeah, the end of the first round, beginning of the second round feels really good. And then when you get these options coming around and uh at the 3-4 turn, I feel like it's yeah, it feels cozier than like the early spots. Yeah.
For sure. So
So
what do we got
so do
here? I
you
guess
who do
I
you
can
lean
just tell
between
me if you
Waddle and
want.
Neighbors or just Waddle because of the correlation? Um,
I mean, I don't know. I like them both. I if they're both available for us, I'm gonna be pretty happy. We should probably talk about that though to see um who is. The other thing I was thinking is like if they're both gone, we could just go Lamar Flowers if you want to just go that route and have some fun with Lamar.
I mean, if they're both gone, then I'm down for that. I also like London, but it's
Yeah, me too.
London and Cup. I don't really like Devonta Smith, especially unstacked. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm fine with honestly, I'm fine with doing like if Lamar's gone, then we can move these guys up, obviously. But this is a I don't know. Would you go prioritize Lamar over London or London over Lamar?
Um,
Or just see if somebody falls?
I mean, let's see what happens because we'll be up in a couple picks.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd go Lamar just because I feel like he is like there's not that much of a difference between
Right.
him and like in a single week. Like he has the upside to score 40, which not that many quarterbacks do.
Right.
But I like London a lot too. Like in
Nobody's taken London in round 3, so you're kind of I feel like making your team worse by
worse.
doing that because so many people are just taking him in round 4.
Yeah.
But
No, that's a very good point. How what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have as much London as other people in the Bulletproof Discord, so my bags
I
aren't as
do, yeah.
packed, but
I should pull up my Dynasty Planet shares. I have a ton of. Oh man, there goes Waddle. I was in on Jalen Warren like 2 years ago as an unrestricted free agent, so I have like 60% Warren or something, or I did at one point. I probably sold some off, but yeah, that was fun.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I think my highest exposures are all really gross guys, of course. Like I think I have like 70% Carson Wentz because he was literally nobody who had him. And then I'm like, you see that week 18 game or 17 game? He had like 15 rushes and like I'm like, I think this man can be a bridge quarterback somewhere, please.
Right.
I'm
All
trying to
right.
think.
If okay, come on, baby, one more. All right. We
Okay,
feel like we
definitely
got to go
neighbors
neighbors, right? Do we go neighbors London then?
and
Because
just push quarterback. Yeah.
yeah.
Or I mean, we could go Keenan.
Well, what do
No,
you?
no, definitely go neighbors. Definitely go neighbors.
Okay. Well, let's keep that time on the clock. But do you prefer London or Keenan? I kind of like. Well, here's neighbors, so we'll take him. Let's see. So I'm just gonna look at the Falcons schedule real quick.
This is the pro move right here. I love it.
I'm not gonna get it in time. I think we probably should just take London.
Okay.
Oh, they do not play any of them. I'll just take London because
That's okay. I
probably
feel like
don't have enough of him anyway, which is nice. But one thing about London that I'm seeing is that everybody plays the Eagles, it feels like. That's why I love stacking Hurts and AJ Brown at the end, because they just have such a great schedule. So the Falcons obvious, I don't know. It's hard though too. Like, I haven't been taking a lot of quarterbacks trying to like main stack the Falcons because you just don't know who that's going to be. So I think we got to kind of figure out what we're doing here. I do feel like Neighbors to yeah, maybe we should have went Keenan, because it would have been interesting to try to do Neighbors, Keenan, and then get Herbert. But I think the most likely landing spot for Neighbors is New York.
Unfortunately, but I don't know. It might not be bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his talent is just so out of this world that he'll probably get a lot of targets. So
right. Let's see, what are we at? 60-61.
So let's recap the team really quick. We got we started off with Garrett Wilson and Achane.
Yep.
And then we went Neighbors and Drake London. I feel like I like this team so far. It's I would say it's probably not the way I normally go. It's for some reason my brain doesn't default to Garrett Wilson in at the end of the first.
Oh, I think he could be huge this year, because I think Aaron Rodgers could just lock into him and just make him like Devontae Adams level production, right? And because I mean, who else is he throwing to there? Which, that's another nice thing about taking Wilson, is you're throwing darts at all these rookies at the end. You might get a double stack coming in if.
I mean, I think he had, I forget, I can pull up the Deplots sheet, but I think he had like 29.9% target share, which, I mean, I know it's obviously like there's not a lot of competition for targets, but like,
yeah,
I think Garrett Wilson has just had the absolute terrible worst outcome he could have with quarterbacks. So like, just give that man any quarterback that is at least average,
right,
and he's gonna smash.
I like Rome because then taking Caleb. Actually, this is a nice setup right now to, if we can do it, pull off like Fields and Caleb, just because if Justin Fields, I know this, we maybe would want to take like Deontay or Pickens or something like that, but if he goes to Atlanta, we've already got London, and then we've got the potential 9th pick with Rome or Neighbors if he somehow slips to Chicago that far.
I think it could happen. Option. I think it could happen. I really like out of that group of wide receivers, I definitely like Rome the best. I just feel like he's pretty live for like top, at worst, like 12 probably draft capital. So like that's pretty good compared to like all these other Terry and everyone else in this range. Right. I feel like his ceiling is just a lot higher.
I kind of don't hate taking Mark Andrews. It would be nice to get one of these guys, because I think kind of everything else around here is pretty gross at this time. Although we could mix in Kincaid because he's also in that division.
Well, you don't have to sell me on Mark Andrews at all. So
oh man, I liked McLaurin, but we've already okay. So there we go. So we got to figure out what we're doing.
Oh shit.
We could go Kincaid just because he's in that same division, and I don't know, JSN could be really good, or we could take Kirk. Do you like Kirk or JSN better? I do feel like we got to go.
Let's go Kincaid.
Let's take Kincaid. And then are you going to fight me. Do you want a second running back this early already?
Oh hell no, 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 no.
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right. So we got to
Why
do
don't
that.
why don't
Or
you
we
make
could
the
take
case? Why don't you make
actually.
the case for which whatever you choose, and you tell me why you like that guy?
All right. I'm gonna go with Godwin because he's NFC. We know he plays the Falcons. We can figure out who he plays additionally, and it gives us like a emergency button Baker potential for later. I know it's a little bit past ADP, but would it surprise you at all if he ends up putting up the same production as either of those other guys in our queue?
It's so flat at that point. It's yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I think we're I like to be ahead on well, at least in this range. So we have 4 receivers. I think I don't know anybody else have more than that. That would be crazy. But no, we're kind of like at pace with wide receiver, and then we've got a really good tight end and a really good running back. So
How do you feel about Kincaid in general? How are you? Because I think I had a bias against him, but I think I'm coming around on him a little bit.
yeah, I did not take him. He was going too early for me in Dynasty. But I like him this year a lot in seasonal, and I don't hate him in Dynasty now either. It just um, who else really is Allen going to throw to, right? Like he's clearly usurped Knox as the tight end one there, and Gabe Davis is probably gone. Khalil Shakir is good, but he's probably just a guy, right? And hopefully Diggs gets back to his former self, but in the event that he doesn't, he's just going to get fed, right? And there's going to be a rookie there probably too, but um, I think he's a pretty safe pick.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think Drew was talking about in the Discord, and I think we're with McBride second year breakout and Laporta as a rookie just absolutely smashing. I think that's clouding our vision a little bit on Kincaid. Like all things considered, he had a super good rookie year for a tight end.
Yeah,
And he's tied to Josh Allen. Basically, regardless of anything else going on, like that still seems like a pretty good bet to make.
right. This is like an interesting range for me this next turn because there's like really these 3 wide receivers have been clumped together the whole time. The Watson, Thomas, Hopkins, and actually at one point Hopkins was the lowest on them, but um, I was joking around. I was saying I want like 33% ownership of all these guys. It's just the only ones I want to take around here. But now that I mean, sometimes by the time the turn comes around, they're all gone already. So you can't really have that. But I'm mostly aiming to get one of these guys here. These running backs are pretty gross still.
Yeah, I'm kind of not in on Spears at
Yeah.
this cost.
Bowers is kind of interesting. Um,
We got Fields if we want to
yeah,
do
we
this.
could. That could be something. We just got to make sure to queue up Deontay, just to have that little hedge there. Um, and then I feel like we would want to kind of come back around and take Pitts maybe if we do go that route. Just play it for Fields to Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I think I'm good with any of these 3 receivers. Fields, and
Kirk is
then
still there, huh? What a
what's up?
fall. I said Kirk is still available.
I don't this is almost 10 picks past
I
ADP.
know. If he stays to us, you almost just have to take him because of how far he's fallen. But
I would no, I would definitely take him if he falls to us. But
what
I don't think he will.
what's your
Um,
take on Fields? Like for just this year, not in Dynasty, just like
I mean, in Dynasty, obviously, I don't love him, but I feel like he's gonna be a starting quarterback, and I feel like he's probably gonna score a lot of points just whatever. Either he gets kind of a better environment where he whatever, maybe has a better coaching because it seems like he didn't have great coaching in Chicago,
right,
and better weapons. So it's like he has that out, and then also it's just he always can run for 1,000 yards in a season and put up big spike weeks. So I mean, I'm pretty into him at pick eight. What is he? His ADP is 80.9. I feel like that's
Yeah,
pretty solid, especially if you pair him with like a pretty stable guy as your QB2. You kind of
right.
get the best of both worlds.
We didn't get Rome, right? So that dream is,
That dream is dead.
yeah. Um, and we didn't get DJ Moore, so I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm fine with one of these receivers. Otherwise, what else? Like, what other
Yeah,
running backs are available in this
it's
range?
like Eckler. I don't want either Eckler or
I don't
Mixon.
want
I'm
or
actively
Mason or
avoiding both of
Connor.
those guys. We're gonna get one of these three, so that's good at least. If Fields and Thomas go, we could potentially go Love Watson and just pivot to Green Bay.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so should we just go Love Watson?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do that because there's so many. There's just the thing I like about Love is there's so many targets for him that you could get three guys and it won't cost you a ton.
That
All
it's
right,
like the perfect best ball situation where it's just
right,
like there's
for
literally
sure.
7 guys you can take.
All right, and I think the Packers. No, they play the Dolphins, which is nice. They do not play the Falcons, which is okay. But they do play the AF or the NFC West, so all those teams are pretty spicy. And then they play the AFC South, which is it's AFC South, right? Like the Colts, the Titans, um,
The Jags.
the Jags, and the Texans. Yeah. So it's just something to be cognizant about. It, like I said, it probably doesn't actually end up mattering, but it would
This
also be
far
kind
out,
of fun to
but
just go with Love Rogers just for the Packer homer take here. But just
I
backing two future Hall of Famers in the same draft is nice.
wait. Are you a Packers fan?
I am. I know. I live in the Chicago suburbs, but I'm
Oh
a
wait,
Packers
yeah,
fan.
because I forgot because you know what? It's hilarious because I put Luke Musgrave on the thumbnail and I didn't even do that intentionally.
That's
I just
funny.
was
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have some jokes in the Discord about the Musgrave craft, and then I think by default one of my favorite players of all time has to be Equinemius St. Brown because he went to Notre Dame and played for Green Bay, even though he wasn't very good in Green Bay. Like Ryan Grant, I think is probably there's probably somebody more obvious, but Ryan Grant was a running back for the Packers years ago, but he went to both
you
programs.
get
There's
the
never
double whammy.
really been a player that I can think of. If anybody in the chat can think of like a really, really good Packer and a really, really good, good Irish career. So, so we're 1-5-1-1-1. I like that.
Do you want to?
Good
Why don't you
spot.
run through the team really quick?
Yeah, for sure. So we've got Garrett Wilson, Malik Babers, Drake London, Chris Godwin, and Christian Watson. We got Achan at running back, and then we've got Love and Kincaid at
At the
quarterback
onesies.
and tight end. Um, Kind of nice to get Kincaid because then we can wait a little bit and try to scoot Musgrave. Um, but I do usually like going two tight ends in the first like 10 or 11 rounds.
Yeah, it feel like it falls off kind of after. I mean, there is some guys late, but I feel like
Yeah.
this far out, it's like after round maybe 12-ish, like after like Musgrave, it gets kind of gross, other than like Jatavian Sanders really late.
Right. Oh, we might be able to sneak him in.
What so okay, we have HN through what is this? Nine
Right.
rounds.
I honestly
When
think
would you be looking to get your second? Like should we
like
go
it depends if I don't really see there's like nobody here except for Chase Brown, but probably the next turn you could either double tap or take 1-1. And I'd feel pretty good about that, I think. Because like some
yeah,
of these guys might still be there.
I was gonna say it got kind of wiped out. Like it's
Yeah,
all the whole top of the queue is all receivers, which I feel like is not usually the case.
yeah. Any of these guys, other wide receivers stick out to you as
I
somebody we
mean,
should prioritize.
I mean, Dubs because we have
Yeah,
the
no,
he
he
just
gone. Yeah,
I mean, Troy Franklin, I actually like Jacoby. I don't hate Jacoby, honestly, or Downs,
yeah.
but
I don't mind Jacoby either. A thing I like about Jacoby too is that um, I like him probably just as much for himself as the fact that then he could push tight end a little bit further and get Mayer later, which is kind
I
of
like
nice. And
Mayer
I
a
don't
lot.
mind. I
Yeah.
really like stacking guys, even if we don't have the quarterback, just for potential correlations. Oh yeah, Paul. Duh. Thank you, Jeff. Paul Horning. Obviously, that
Jeff
was a
coming
little
in
bit
clutch.
before my time, but I never. I don't think I was alive when he played. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe he. No, there's no way. Actually, I think he played in like the '70s. So, but I do remember like Favre was the first quarterback I truly remember, and I remember Horning. They would always, like pan to him in the crowd for big games and in the skybox and all that kind of stuff. Um,
My one of my high school football coaches was I'm from Michigan. I went to a school called Brother Rice, and he went to Notre Dame, and
okay.
back in the day. Um, oof. I mean, I
Oh yeah,
don't
what
love Shakir here, but we do
you
have
don't? We
Kincaid.
could go Chase Brown is not a bad one to like scoop. Keon Coleman, uh, Pat on the Leg Up podcast made a pretty good argument to be taking him, even if you don't like him. The reason I like Shakir is just because we already have Kincaid, but
I mean, I think I lean same thing. I don't love Coleman, but I just feel like his upside is a little bit more. But we do have the
he
stack, so I'm
also could end up on Buffalo too anyway. There's nobody really. There's just it's
this is a
not.
terrible rank. This is a
Yeah.
horrible
Well,
rank.
we kind of everybody that we wanted kind of went. I guess let's just take Coleman for the upside.
Rookies,
Get the
rookies,
Shiznit.
rookies. That's the theme.
I don't have any expectations for him to be like amazing. I think hopefully he's not Quentin Johnson, but like definitely I feel like there's a chance he could be as far as production goes. But also they made a good point is like you're going to know really early if you hit on him or not. So that's nice at least, right? If he comes out guns blazing, he's probably going to be really good for you. So
I mean, yeah, I think he's just super athletic, but the separation concerns and just like his lack of kind of refinement definitely scare me. They give me big Quentin Johnson energy, which I'm
yeah,
scared of. But I mean, crazier things have happened. Big guy, run fast. Maybe he lands on a good team like the Chiefs or the Bills or something. I mean, could happen.
right. This is going to be a nice little range for us though. There's like
Yeah,
Wicks,
this feels a
Musgrave.
lot.
I like Brooks actually a lot. I'm not sure how great he is on this. I mean, he'll be fine on this team. Like I see him coming on later in the year because of the ACL, but Charbonnet's been falling a little bit. I really like him. I have so much Bears. I have a lot of Rashawn and Herbert
Herbert.
just because I think they're both going to be pretty solid. Is there anybody else here? God, I'm afraid we
Running,
might
I
miss
mean, rookie,
Rodgers.
Trey Benson.
Yeah, sorry, I'm flying around over here.
You're
So
good. You're good. Trey
where
Benson. Who's the other? There's someone else there that I was not hate.
Corum?
I don't hate Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I don't either. I just feel like we're going to have better options right now.
Okay.
Corum, I haven't gotten much Corum because I like the other rookies better than him, but it's probably a blind spot of mine.
Yeah, I think I have a bias against him because I'm a Michigan State fan too.
Oh,
So like, I just hate him.
yeah, we
But
don't
like,
have to take them. I don't. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I also hate Michigan. So we can do that. 156, 157. Is Rogers going to wheel that far? 141. Oof, that's going to be right. Did I look at that math right? Yeah.
yeah, Trey
So if we
Benson,
want
Cole
Rogers, we're going to
Herbert.
have to reach. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that's even worth it. Who else do we have that we could potentially stack at a later time. Baker.
If we think someone else is going to go to Atlanta,
Yeah, well, Baker's actually nice because isn't his offensive coordinator in Atlanta? So those are probably the only two teams he's going to go to if he goes somewhere, and we've kind of got him covered either way.
No, Baker Canals went to Carolina, I think, right?
Carolina. Oh, well, that would suck. But no, wait. I thought somebody, for some reason in my head, I'm thinking somehow there's a tie to Atlanta, or that could be a potential like destination for Baker.
I haven't heard anything, but I mean, I don't think it's crazy. It could happen.
I just think, okay, how close are we? 6 picks away. Wow, Shakir's still here.
I mean, if he falls,
I might have to fight you on that one if he falls that far.
No. If he falls, that's way too much. That's way too much ADP value to not take him.
I don't really like Shaheed there. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't really know what to make of that offense. I think he's good, but also A.T. Perry's huge. And I know that it's not like he's getting – not the guy who's looking up all the numbers, but I just feel like Shaheed always is like 40, 50 yards touchdowns, which is great for best ball. But I don't know. We don't really have anybody else going with that.
I feel like he's even though Michael Thomas isn't there, it's like he's not going to run like the full amount of routes. Like he's still not really the wide receiver too. Like it's still like, yeah, like you said, A.T. Perry, or they might bring someone else in to like be the wide receiver too. And he's just like the gadgety deep shot type guy, which is like, It's not terrible in best ball, but.
Do you, if Brooks or Wicks goes, are you okay with just reaching a little bit on Rodgers to get that lock in that second? Because I really think like that could be a pretty sick stack. Even though I know people are down on Rodgers, but
no,
it's not like he was really using his Achilles anyway these days. Ooh, okay. So this is the decision. Here's the rub. I feel like Wicks would be the priority, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because of Love.
You want to go? I mean,
see, look, somebody already took Musgrave. That's so crazy to me how early he's going.
I mean,
what would you rather do? I kind of feel like I'd like to play it safe and take Rodgers.
Okay. Let's get the stack. I mean, I don't think the running backs are that much different. I do like Brooks and Benson, but
there's going to be some other rookies that I think are also pretty good that could have as much of an impact this year. Or better.
Let's go Rodgers. Let's stack it up. Okay, so we have Love and Rodgers, so we're probably good at quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. We're done. Shut him down.
We have running. We need to catch up at running back, I would say.
Yeah.
But that's the good part is there's lots of rookies we can snag. So.
Yeah. What's your thoughts around 3 tight ends? I've heard like very different takes on it. Like I know Sack from Leg Up, he is all about it right now because of it. Like makes the amount of lineups you can generate higher when you take 3 tight ends. So he's doing it all the time. But then I know some of the guys in the Spike Week Discord that I kind of peek into, they are definitely more like the 2 and 10 or just taking 2. And I know Eric talks a lot about like you want to win the flex, which I guess tight end plays into that, but like tight end in the flex is kind of weak. So
yeah, it's not. I mean, I think it depends on where I take them. Like who do we have right now? We just have Kincaid, right?
Yeah.
I feel like with Kincaid, I'm fine with 2.
Right. And then Jeff makes a good point. At first, before he put the caveat in there, right, I was like, oh, I don't know. I think Musgrave's just the thing about Musgrave, and I think I've said this in the Discord too, is he's the more explosive player. He's going to get the downfield targets, and he's more the guy that's going to play out of the slot more so than in line. And he's just got the opportunity to generate more fantasy points. But I think Kraft is obviously going to see the field, and he's proven that he can play in the NFL. So he's going to see his share of targets and probably some red zone targets too. And so they could both be good, but I think when it's all said and done at the end of the year, Musgrave's probably going to have more fantasy points. But I think, like Jeff's saying, at cost, Kraft is a nice little value.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if Musgrave didn't get hurt, like Tucker Kraft wouldn't have even shown up, I think. I mean, but the thing with Musgrave is it seems like he was hurt all the time in college and then he got hurt this year. So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be the
Right.
injury prone guy, but yeah, from a profile standpoint and just like a what kind of tight end do we really want and who's going to score a lot of fantasy points, I feel a lot better about Musgrave. But I mean, and it's not so much a
For
take
sure.
against Kraft. It's more just like big, very fast with a quarterback in an offense we want to be betting on. I feel like Musgrave is my lean there.
Yeah, but like, yeah, exactly. And like a lot, Kraft falls too. I've noticed it's not like Musgrave. I noticed it feels like more often than not he's getting taken ahead of ADP, and Kraft oftentimes just is kind of always sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably more like people want him with a love stack. So if you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
if the love drafter already has other stacks or whatever, and they're not, then he's definitely liable to fall a little bit.
right. All right, I filtered in the queue the people that I like around here. Is there anybody you're seeing that you're like, yeah, maybe we should probably add that guy in
Um,
here?
we don't need
That's
quarterbacks, so that's
yeah,
fine. I like Mayer. I don't know
I
if
do
we need
too.
I don't know if we
I
need
just
to take a tight end,
I
but I
agree. I
think
feel like at this point, just go Kraft or pick up like the Jets tight end later.
yeah, Jatavian Sanders. I'm not sure how late he's
Oh yeah,
going, but
we could get him probably at the next turn, which would be not a bad one because if the Jets take him, that would be sick too.
yeah, I think he's getting a lot of steam lately. I think he's
Right.
probably going to test pretty well and go like mid to early second round.
Yeah.
Um, running backs.
So these guys, I do like Jaleel. I think I'm a fan. I've been taking like the Bears and the Denver. I'm just taking. It feels like almost every draft I'm taking one of them
I
from
really
both
like
of those
Jaleel.
teams.
I really like Jaleel. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we shouldn't dip too much further than like Lloyd if we're going to do that. But I mean, Demario, Palmer, Wandale, I feel like those are pieces when you're trying to stack and not necessarily like seeking them out.
One off pieces. Yeah.
Um, I don't know about Zach Moss. I don't really think he's that good. I know he looked kind of good last year, but I don't. I don't know. I'm not.
I
I'd much
mean,
rather have Algier because we already have London and hopefully that offense is going to be pretty good.
oh,
I
Jaleel
know.
goes.
Boom.
Can you filter the running back and just see
Yeah,
who
for
else
sure.
is even available?
Like this is such a gross area for me. I'm
Yeah.
staying so far away from all Baltimore running backs right now. Till I'll get them later. I like Ray Davis. I don't mind Gibson later.
I
Um,
mean, I'm down to
boy,
go
we
just
are looking
I'm
rough
down
here.
for I'm down for Algier and then I
Well, let's see. Yeah, they're just like this. So it's so disgusting right here. It's either Polk or Lloyd for me. It's what do you? We've got how
how
many?
many running backs do we have? Let
We
me
have two.
I, I mean, I lean
Prob-
slight I lean slightly running back, but I think Polk will probably go like I think Polk is still pretty live to go second round, but I
Yeah,
think
I agree.
probably I think
Got some
structurally we
wiggle
should
there.
go
I
Lloyd
think
just for to cover off on running back,
right.
but
I agree. How many? We've got two, three, four, five, six, seven. Yeah, I think we've got a good. I think Lloyd's probably a better play because there's so many good rookie wide receivers later too that we can just take to round out
I was
this.
gonna say we're talking about Pearsall, like he might go second round
Yeah,
too. There's other guys late that we can
we're
go.
probably just hammering our tight end and running back at the or two running backs at the next um, turn. Also, is my guess, just based on how the drafts have played out for me. 80-81. who's down here. I don't mind Roman Wilson. I think
Yeah, Roman will. I was gonna say,
Jatavian. Hopefully he could make it to us. I doubt it though. If his ADP is 175.
I mean, yeah, talking about leveraging off of Polk, like Roman Wilson could go higher. Tez
Yeah,
Walker, I like Tez Walker a lot.
yeah.
I think he had a bad Senior Bowl week because he was dropping a ton of passes.
Yeah. Also, I saw he was getting beat up by Cam Hart, who's a Notre Dame corner. And I'm here to tell you that whoever gets him in the draft in like the 4th or 5th round is going to be very happy because I think he's getting dropped down because of his medicals. He's had like 2 shoulder injuries, but
Okay.
that dude was Benjamin Morrison's the other corner at Notre Dame last year. And he's like outstanding. He's probably going to be a 1st-round draft pick or high 2nd-round draft pick. Like he started as a freshman and had like a ton of interceptions, and he was like All-American or whatever. And Hart looked better than him this year. He's big, he's lanky, he just sticks to people. So I think he's actually, if he could stay healthy, he's going to have a good. I want the Packers to draft him.
You're giving me the deep cornerback takes because
right. I know, only because of Notre Dame, right? I'm not. No other reason why. All right, let's sort this all out here. We could sort this by ADP and then go from there.
I mean, what about other tight ends? I don't mind Hunter Henry. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
But we have. I'm just not sure if Tyler Conklin,
I know. Is he going to be there? Also, if he isn't, does it really matter? Because we have Kincaid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'd almost rather just. I have no Tyler Conklin. Did Jatavian go? Yeah, see, he's gone already.
I was going to say, I feel like he's getting pushed up a lot.
Is there anybody up here that I just assumed wouldn't make it? I'm not into Xavier at all.
Me either.
I just think he weighed in smaller. Like, if you go out there and look, there's just no, oh, wow, Conklin went. That solves our problem for us, right?
There you go. I'm pretty happy that we don't have to take Conklin, honestly.
Yeah. So now the question becomes, we got to wait and see. Is there anybody else here that you think we should add to the queue? I'm not into him.
No, I'm not
You want it? We can add Henry in there.
Don't love Henry.
I'm Hyatt if I have Daniel Jones already, but I'm not taking him otherwise.
Yeah, I like Hyatt. Yeah, same thing in a stack, but
I'm not taking Miles Sanders unless he's falling. I don't mind taking him, but yeah, it's going to get ugly again with running back.
Yeah, I mean, we have Love, so I mean, I don't hate taking maybe if one of these rookie wide receiver fall to us, Roman Wilson or
Davis
Walker, and then Kraft or Henry.
This feels like an extremely heavy running back draft for some reason. I feel like
no. All the running backs were gone. Like, remember when we were looking at like the 9th round and all the running backs were gone and it was all wide receivers at the top of the queue? That is not normal. That is like the opposite of what you saw.
Exactly. So it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. I'm not used to this, but that I think just means we could probably go. I would normally maybe go 6 running backs, but maybe we go 7 depending on how we're feeling about our wide receivers. I definitely think
I feel pretty good about our receivers.
Oh, I'm really hoping Tez lasts. If not, okay. So if Tez goes, are we just going to go Gibson Kraft? Do you like Gibson?
I mean, I like Gibson. I just think he just has such a fantasy friendly game. Oh, okay. Let's go Walker Kraft.
Walker Kraft. Okay, perfect. I like
and
that.
And then we're locked into taking running back, which I think it's fine.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So we got 10, 16. I don't know if we want 8 running backs. We could go 2-8-8-2. We could also go 2-7-9-2. Up to you. I really like taking more than 8 wide receivers. Like, let's see who our wide receivers are.
I feel like we don't. I feel like we should be done at wide receiver almost.
You think so? I know.
I don't
I'm
know. I
just
mean,
get scared of Coleman, right? And but how many rookies do we have? 3, 4. Well, I'm like way behind quota on rookies, but we're probably taking rookies for the most part here on out.
yeah,
We could go 8 running backs. I just feel like with such a high investment, we went hero RB, I guess the cool kids would call it. 7 guys theoretically to try to fight for that one spot seems like a lot, but
I
I'm
I
down to
I say we kind of just take it as it falls to
let's
us.
see. Yeah, I agree. I'm not opposed to it, but I definitely think it's either 8-8 or 7-9.
Yeah, I agree. I think we just.
Maybe people will.
I'm sorry.
I said maybe people will stop drafting running backs now. You
It's
like
like the opposite of the wide receiver avalanche is the running back avalanche. I'm not used to it at all. It's same thing. It's throwing me off. Like I feel like there's usually guys that fall like to some of our spots, but no one was falling.
Gainwell? I don't know. I'm going to add him in there. I think he's kind of that's like such a coward's pick. I feel like because like we're playing for upside and like I don't know what kind of upside you're just playing it safe there. I feel like why
Yeah,
not
I like
take
Jalen Wright.
kind of do the same thing as far as pass catching, but also could just land in a much better like. I mean, not that Philly's a bad spot for a running back, but there's no way he's going into the year as the number one there.
I agree. They're gonna bring someone. They're gonna bring someone
He
else.
would be good with Jets.
Yeah, you know what? I actually like Izzy a lot. I feel like
Me too.
I
I
mean
have a decent amount of him. Let me look at that real quick. What is my exposure to
second year
Izzy?
running backs, I feel like there's always like guys who just don't really play their rookie year, and then their second year they just whatever get a shot to be the number two or whatever, and then stuff can always break your way. So
Right. Um, I initially took like 5 shares of Tank very early on, and then everybody was like against that take. And I guess I see why. Like, I think that's one of those dynasty take locks, right? Like, we really liked him last year as a rookie and trying to grab him, and then um, had the opportunity to be the RB2, lost it. Apparently, did not look good from a metric standpoint, and um, like who knows what's he's still in line to be the RB2 this year. I would maybe they'll take somebody early, but like I don't know. I've just been shying away from him.
yeah, he's not. I mean, I don't know. I don't like hate him, but hey, Dylan Laub's been.
Oh yeah, he's been getting steamed up.
He has
Dylan Johnson, I don't. Well, just throw some names on here.
definitely not Dalvin.
Right. What? There's one. Where are we? Donta Foreman.
Yeah, I
That's
like
like
Johnny
a
Foreman a lot.
panic button. Like last, because who knows what could he did not look bad with Chicago last year when he got the opportunity.
It seems like he's live for 130-point game per year. I mean,
Yeah.
like I think what the last like 3 years when he was with Carolina, like he had a couple games with like 25 or 30 points. Last year he had one game with like 25 or 30 points. Like I think he's still pretty solid. He just got kind of phased out with Roshan and Herbert, but
Yeah. I would be super excited if Gibson fell to us. I don't think it's going to happen, but who do we have? God, it kind of looks a little ugly, but it might, I mean, heaven forbid, which nobody wants this, but if something happens to Bijan, Algiers just wheels up. So there's some really nice contingent upside. I think Chase Brown probably um, is at least in a decent timeshare to start the season with Mixon. Maybe not, but it at the very least, there's a ton of contingent upside. Lloyd's a rookie.
I mean, I think I'm not. I feel like I have a little bit of bias against Chase Brown, but I mean, he looked pretty solid, and I was just talking up second year running
Yeah.
backs. So,
Okay.
um,
Do we really like? How do you feel? Gainwell, it seems like just way too safe. I don't know. Like,
I prefer rookies or
yeah,
like
double or is he? All right, so let's do this first.
let's go
Uh,
right first. And
Okay,
then
I like Wright a lot. I have a ton of him. It's like Izzy or Shipley. I think Shipley could. I've seen him falling way more than Izzy, so like there's a chance he could wheel back to us.
I say Izzy with our
Yeah.
Jets bet we have going on.
All right. So what are we at now? We got 6. So we're either going. So here's the list. Well, I mean, if Gainwell fell that far,
If he
great. But
falls to us, yeah.
yeah, the only thing I get a little. I guess we only have 2 rookie running backs. But if you have like 5 or 6 rookie running backs, like we know this is a pretty weak class, so to put that many eggs in the basket probably isn't ideal in one draft. Is there anybody else you like? Chris Rodriguez? Should we
I
toss him
I
in
don't
there?
mind Chris Rod, yeah.
I have not really heard anything either way about Frank Gore Jr., which probably means I don't want to draft him because
Yeah,
I
I know
mean
he had
I've
a really
definitely
good,
been
like,
doing
what
some.
was it, like East West Shrine Bowl or something,
Yeah,
but
I've done some sleuthing on these rookies a little bit, just and he's not a guy who's like popping out anywhere. Obviously, uh, I don't even want it, Laub or whatever, however you say it. He is getting some steam. Dylan Johnson, I see people saying why isn't anybody talking about Dylan Johnson? And he's got like I think a pretty good frame, like a traditional running back frame. And then he did really good at Washington this year, and he was it Mississippi State or Ole Miss, one of those
Mississippi
two.
State, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think he did good there. I'm not actually sure why he transferred. I don't know if it's just he felt Washington was an upgrade, probably, but I kind of like taking him. He's a guy that gets plucked. I usually used to be able to get him in the last round, but not anymore. Cody
Yeah, I
Schrader
mean,
is
I
like
think
one of those panic button
Trader,
guys
Dylan
for me.
Johnson, Shipley
Yeah,
probably would be my leans. Gainwell, if Gainwell falls to us, I'm fine with Gainwell, but
he at least gives us somebody to start the year that's going to score points in that RB2 spot.
yeah, this is a weird running back room for me. I don't know, like I feel like
Light,
no, it's I don't even think it's necessarily light. I think it's just I have biases against a lot of these guys,
yeah.
but it's like
It doesn't feel comfortable. So naturally, this team's going to be one that makes it multiple rounds into the playoffs, right?
that's what I'm kind of feeling. It's like these guys where it's like you're kind of taking a lot of shots on guys that are like whatever they could get the role or the contingent value. It's like you really only need one or two of them to break the right way to
Right.
have it pay off. So
Yeah. Wow. I'm just looking back, and we do not have a lot of correlations with the Packers on our team. Which, whatever. I don't think it's like make or break. I think the stacks are more important to uphold, but both of
yeah, I
our
mean, as long as we
quarterbacks,
get the team correlation, I feel like that's at least
yeah. And then
something at this point.
we've got 2 shots at a um yeah, exactly, Jeff. No more last round freebies. I agree. Like sometimes, honestly, I love Javon Baker. So if he's there, I'm smashing him. I don't know if can't miss is the right term for him, but he's getting steamed up by everybody or a lot of people that I trust. So I have I think 50 something percent. You probably saw that earlier, but um like Angelo. Do you know Angelo on Twitter? He likes him. I saw Cody Carpentier likes him. Um,
I feel like I do know Angela. I feel like I know the name, but I feel like I can't put a face to it right now.
yeah. All right. Here
Um,
we are. My. Do we? Well, can I
why don't
sell
we go?
you
Why
on
don't we go your boy
definitely
Baker,
taking Dylan
and then
Johnson?
why don't we go your boy Baker, and then either Johnson or I mean, I'm fine with either any three of those running backs, honestly.
All right. So do you think seven's good here? I think it's pretty fair. Yeah. I think between those 6 running backs, we're gonna get an RB2 week. We just gotta hope that A Chain is amazing.
He's, we just gotta hope he's healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess that you gotta hope. every first or second round pick is healthy. So, yeah, let's go Baker. I have a lot of Burton too, but for the brand, right?
Most likely a fourth round pick. I mean, yeah, but 20th round pick. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and you know who else was a fourth round pick? And I know this is like so stupid to say, but Amon Ra was a fourth round pick. Puka was a fifth round pick, but I know we're talking about the outlieriest of outliers. So, but you never know. And he could sneak into the third round potentially. Like if he has a good combine, I don't know how he tests. I just know a lot of those guys that I trust that are film guys like him. And so I feel like maybe scouts will like him too. And we'll see. Who knows? I know he transferred out of Alabama. So he's got like a blue blood ish, like high school background.
Pedigree, yeah.
And while he couldn't beat out Burton, I'm seeing more excitement for him than Burton. Burton kind of just feels like a solid, like, but it seems like Baker has some upside.
Yeah, I mean, I think Burton is pretty meh to me, so
Yeah.
um, don't love it. So why don't
Should we
you run through our
pop this
team one
up?
more time, and then I know we
Is there
wanted
a
to hop
better
off.
way on this to um, expand this out to make it bigger that'll show up on the screen? Like, did that work? No, it did not. Um, that didn't work. Excuse me.
Oh, you're good.
I told you like what Wednesday I was like, I lost my voice. So I think it'll be back by Friday, but our 2-year-old got an ear infection, and I think we're all kind of seeing the residuals of that.
Yeah,
So
it's I feel like since mid-December, like me and everyone I know has gotten sick like one or two times since that time. So
yeah.
hope you guys are doing
Oh yeah,
okay.
we're good. I mean, last year we got destroyed. We were sick like it felt like for 3 of the winter months straight. So can I do? Can I go in here and see this? All right. I wish I could pull this up and make it bigger, but here we are. How do you want to review it? You tell me what to do.
Yeah, why don't you just go through round by round and just
All right.
yeah, talk through kind of
Yeah,
each
so we
guy.
got Wilson. I feel like he could just be a target funnel for the Jets, and I think they could just generally be a lot better this year when Rodgers is under center. Maybe they get a few offensive linemen to keep him upright for more than like 3 minutes or whatever it was. I know it wasn't really the line that tore his Achilles, but Achan, uh, I like that. I don't have enough of him, and he's just explosive. Anytime he touches the ball, it could be a home run. And we got Neighbors, who is kind of a mystery box of where he's going to go, but probably either the Chargers, the Giants, the Titans, or the Bears. Don't you think?
I think those are the three most likely, yeah.
If he goes to the Titans, then the Packers play him, so that would be kind of interesting.
I actually think that's
London,
kind of a fun landing spot with the
I
with the new
agree
offensive
with Levis.
coordinator
That
and
would be
Levis
sweet.
just slinging it.
Yeah, that would be good. London, he's one of my favorite dynasty wide receivers. Feel like he was so undervalued, and he still has values suppressed because of how bad they've been there. But everything like D Plot and Drew and all those guys in the Discord say about him, it's just like the metrics apparently are still really good on him. So that's encouraging. Kincaid could be a target funnel in that offense, I think. And it's just an explosive offense. So, um, Allen's going to get his rushing touchdowns, but I think Kincaid's going to be pretty good this year. Godwin, I forgot who I was listening to, but somebody was making a mention that their plan is to move him back into the slot this year. And
I
he's
heard that
been
too, yeah.
significantly better as a slot player. So that could just be a guy who outperforms ADP. Watson, Love, we double tapped to start that Green Bay connection. We took Chase Brown at 1.8 just because basically he was the only running back left on the board in that range, and we
Literally the
needed to
only
get
running back.
somebody. And he's also in an explosive offense, and he just has a lot of upside. Coleman, I don't think either of us were super inspired to take him, but just a guy who could land in Buffalo or with a good team like KC and have some pretty massive upside. Wicks for the double stack. We reached on Rodgers just to lock that in with Wilson and that little mini stack there. Then we double tapped running back. We went with Algier and Marshawn Lloyd, the rookie out of USC, I believe.
I feel like Algier, like he's the type of guy where I feel like previously would have went in round like pick 130 or something like that. Just being the like that's pretty much the
Yeah,
most valuable handcuff role you can have to Bijan, I feel like. So
right. And I mean, it's weird too that he isn't going higher because of how Arthur Smith used him. Like he was pretty involved last year. And I don't think Bijan's gonna just handle, I don't know that any running back handles like 90% of the touches anymore, but he could still see, you know, 30, 35% of the
yeah.
touches,
No, I
40
mean that's like
maybe.
no
But
running back really gets more than that. I mean, other
yeah,
than like CMC and
right.
was Rashad White last year was getting crazy touches, but
And I don't know, maybe Arthur Smith's right that he's just a better goal line back. So that
I hope
there,
not.
maybe. Plus, he kind of correlates with Drake London. So,
True.
and then we got Tez Walker. I started out drafting him a decent amount. Then, like midway, I cooled off on him. Then I like heard some more stuff being talked about. I think what's the PFF podcast that did the crossover with, was it Leg Up the other day?
Oh, Fantasy Stock Exchange. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was
they yeah, they were like really high on him. So I was like, okay, maybe I should buy back into him. Just I think all the anti-hype on him was from the senior day, basically. But
yeah,
prior to that, everybody was in love with him. So Kraft, there's our fourth Packer, which I don't hate at all because they're all reasonable costs, and you're almost guaranteed to lock in a couple of these guys potentially into your lineup every week with the way that they spread the ball
yeah,
around.
if they just ping pong weeks, like, yeah, I feel like you feel pretty good.
Yeah, then we just went two rookies, Wright and Dylan Johnson, and then Izzy, which is a Jets back who I think, again, like we were just talking about with Bijan, Brees is not going to get every single carry, and they don't really have anybody else. And last year from the dynasty stuff, I just remember he had a pretty solid prospect profile, right? Like he's
And he was
not a
super,
bad
super
running
young.
back.
He was like
So
21, yeah.
he just got their GM was kind of dumb and got traded, or did he sign or trade for Cook? I think they just signed him after he got cut. And so I think he's got some upside, and he flashed a little bit at the end, I think, once all those other guys were out of the picture. And then we ended it off with Javon Baker. So
Your boy Javon Baker, what are you gonna be on after this? Like 55% or something like that? I mean,
yeah, something
20th, I mean,
ridiculous.
20th round, you can't really go wrong, to be completely honest. Like,
Yeah, 53, 54% probably. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm taking him half the time, so
I don't think it's a bad bet. I mean, if he gets steamed up, he could get some CLV, and you never know. Like, he could
yeah.
land.
And I mean, I have like some Burtons and Pearsall, which are guys that are kind of going a little bit in that range too. I have over 25% of both of those guys also. So it's not like I'm just laser focused in on him. I'm taking him over like the Cowings and the Thrashes and stuff of the world, but I'm okay if I miss on those guys.
Yeah, I think NFL Stock Exchange was talking about Thrash as well, or someone was talking about Thrash, but um I other than that, other than like one or two people, I haven't seen a ton of hype on him.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I know we wanted to have a hard out, so I think we're a little bit over time.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for I it's interesting because I feel like that is not the type of like I just some of the guys are not the guy, and it was a weird draft where the running backs went early, but
I
you
agree.
definitely
Yeah.
like I think it was good to kind of like we were pushing back against each other. Nice to get a different perspective. Do you have any other shout outs or anything you want to
Not
cover
really. I
off on?
just you know, ooh, spiking that mitten was pretty cool, and it gives me this false sense of confidence moving moving forward. So I'm probably going to do like 60 of these, but I feel like because of that dynasty background, like I said, the big board is one of the tournaments I want to, like the big lottery ticket tournaments I want to attack pretty hard. And I'm kind of adjusting my strategy of how I plan to play best ball now that I have a little bit bigger of a bankroll. So I'll
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
hit up a little bit more of those like low entry, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Higher buy-in,
higher by like
better advance
Dalmatians
rates.
and maybe big dog. I don't know if I'll get that high, but like there's like the yeah, like basically those like 50, 75, $100 range where there's a couple thousand people or up to 10,000. I just want to try to um get in more of those tournaments to not have so much variance with these huge tournaments that you have to get honestly really lucky to place in the money. You can only like strategize your way so much. You need some luck to get there. So I'm excited to see how those go. Maybe we can do a stream if I do like a big dog or something like that
Absolutely.
later in the year.
Yeah, man. No, I don't think you should have a false sense of confidence. I feel like you're definitely one of the sharpest best ball guys I know. So I really appreciate you hopping on and giving me your takes and just kind of whatever walking me through your process. It definitely helps me out, and I think will help everyone out a lot. So
Awesome, man.
really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks for having me on, and I'm sure we'll be chatting in the Discord soon.
Yeah, everyone. I have the link for the bulletproof Discord. That's what we've been referencing the whole time. But Rusty is a part of that as well, and we're constantly talking dynasty and best ball, and just really digging deep. There's some super sharp minds in there: Jacob,
It's like
Drew,
ridiculous. That
Deplow.
Discord is such a hive mind for Dynasty, right? Like that is one of the reasons why I've been there for so long. Like Drew's awesome, and I like his um, what's the word called for it? Like his process and his what his database and all that stuff. But honestly, I stick around because there's so many smart people in there. You learn so much from being in there for Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, I only started playing Dynasty 2 years ago, and I'm very lucky that I was in a league with Deplow, and then through that, I kind of got
Oh,
ingrained
nice.
in the in the
Yeah,
bulletproof uh, Discord and everything. But it honestly, I've learned so much, and I hope I can help other people learn as well. One more thing before we hop
yeah.
off, I just want to give a shout out to Adiko who just launched his Dynasty Data Lab today, which is like a Dynasty ADP and ranking website, which I think it's the absolute best in the business.
I'm
And
about to go subscribe to that after we get off of this. I saw it right before we started and I was going to do it, but I didn't have time. So I'm super excited.
yeah, this is like if you're doing a startup, I think it's free, and then I think he'll have more features coming out. He just released it, and if you're a dynasty player, like this is absolutely invaluable. You can customize it to your league settings, to your scoring settings. It'll give you ADP, which is absolutely necessary. And he filters the leagues too. So it's like some weird leagues. He manually goes in and filters them, which I think is a big help. And let me share
There's
this.
like a ton of metrics in there. Like it has like all the important metrics like routes or yards per route run and a dot, like all those metrics that everybody talks about that I still have a hard time grasping the value of all. That's why I like dplots there, is to like make sense of it all for me. But there's just an insane amount of data. If you're a data person, this is going to give you a lot of stuff that you need. And if you are into Dynasty and you're not using ADP like this in your startup draft, like you're do a startup and use the ADP and it'll work wonders. So you can plan so much further ahead, and it just gives you you're so much more prepared when you have something like this opened up, when you're doing when you're looking at trades, or who can can I get somebody to wheel around to me, right? Can I push off a guy for later? It's just an excellent tool than flying blind with like the preloaded sleeper ADP.
Yeah, don't trust that sleeper ADP. I'm telling you now, don't trust that
Yeah.
sleeper ADP. Yeah, I mean, I've done a few startups already this off season. I'm trying to cool off for a little bit because I got a little bit ahead of myself as I do. But yeah, I mean, I think because I think a big part of me learning about Dynasty is like uh how to value players, and I think startup value is a very good way of doing that. I don't
That's
think
a
it's foolproof, but I do think it helps you like if you're a new player or if you are trying to like figure out kind of values, it does help you kind of um go about doing that. So I think
that's a
that's also
really
a
good
good.
point that I think a lot of people don't initially think about in Dynasty when they first start, or even if they've been playing for a long time, if nobody's ever really like mentioned the idea of it. But it was kind of revolutionary when I started. Even like if you're in an existing Dynasty league, using ADP as the frame of reference for trades is like the way to do it, right? You could go to every trade calculator is different or whatever, but if you go to like the hard evidence of a bunch of startup drafts and where those are valued, it's very easy to see like there's discrepancies, and you can find market inefficiencies a lot in trades where it's um you're like, oh wow, this guy's offering me this trade, and the guy he's offering me is like going two rounds ahead in startups. Like even if you don't think that's right, that's what the market's telling you. So
Yeah, and this is
it's a
like
super
you
valuable tool just to use every time you're making a trade, not just
and
for
like
startups.
yeah, and like you can customize this, like I said, to your league settings, to your scoring settings. So like depending on that, like you could have like whatever, depending on the time of year and everything, 100 drafts, 50 drafts, 100, 200 drafts. So it's just a lot of data where it's like, yeah, you can see the market better than just your vibes and just how you're feeling. Um, you can if you when you're in the draft, you can input your sleeper ID here and it'll tick off players who have been taken. So that's an easy way to kind of see, okay, by ADP, who's the top guy left. That's super, super helpful. Um, you can find trades. I haven't used this yet because I just logged in today, but you can find a player and see you can see different trades. So if you're looking for like, okay, like what am I trying to get for this player, or how can I what can I get for trading them away? Either way, kind of goes along with what we were talking about with startup value, but you can use both of those to kind of figure out like if you're in
Right,
the right
for
ballpark.
sure. Yeah, I think
Um,
another thing too, are they going to have the on his old iteration of the site back last year, there was you could creep on sleeper users to see their trades. I'm sure
yep.
you can do that on this too.
Yes, you can. So yeah, like you can also creep on your league mates, see, oh, this guy traded for whatever CJ Stroud 5 times in the last
Yeah,
month. Like you can try to take advantage of stuff like that.
for sure. And then between that and like Dynasty Planet or whatever, where you can type in usernames and see their shares of what like who the players they like are, that's pretty powerful. Knowing having that information going into trade negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of this is just like it's so much information that you can use that
Yeah.
gives you an edge. Like honestly, I can't put it into words how much of an edge it can give you if you just play around with it. So
There's
I put the link for it in the chat and I'll comment it down after the end of the video. But just wanted to call that out because it big news today that it
Yeah,
dropped.
and
Um,
Adeko's in the Discord chat too, right? The Bulletproof chat. He's one of the analysts. I don't know if he's an alumni or whatever, but so if you join there, you'll have direct access to him to ask questions too.
yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to cover off on that before we left off. But Rusty, thank you so much for hopping on. I'll definitely have to have you on later on in the season. Like you said, if you're doing a bigger tournament or even just to draft some BBMs or whatever. Definitely really enjoyed having you on and glad
For sure.
to have you and hear your opinion.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it, Bindles.
Um, yeah, just other housekeeping. Yeah, shows Monday/Tuesday mornings. When we had a break, but Wednesday nights with El Coach. It was Valentine's Day last week, so we didn't have that. But we'll be back. And then Fridays, I have some cool guests from around the industry, Dynasty, Best Ball, Bulletproof Discord, and otherwise lined up. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share with anyone who you think would enjoy it. So yeah, thanks everyone. Happy Friday night. Rusty, thanks so much.